All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. I've been doing a lot of redecorating in here today. I got new shelving. I've been doing a bunch of things. Still have to do work outside after the live stream. I've got 10,000 things on my plate at the moment. First, though, let's make sure that Rumble is actually working over here. Come on and load it. Well, I'll wait for that in a minute. The bonus holes. Our singer started a religion called the Church of Not Ault. He has decreed that Gorlock the Destroyer is their faith's devil, and may Gorlock devour you is their version of Christians cursing someone by telling them to go to hell. Also, ironically, Gorlock is on video pinned on our X profile, that's the bonus holes, giving they-thems endorsement of the bonus holes. We don't know how to feel about this, given the fact that our singer made they-them the devil in his cult. Sounds lit as fuck. Anyway, yeah. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got, of course, Trump dominating the GOP field. That's something, just a Friday update there because, I mean, with Nikki Haley now on the ropes because of her Civil War commentary, I don't think that that's really going to change. We're going to be talking about Kratom. Of course, there's some fear-mongering. Kratom, often marketed as a health product, faces scrutiny over danger to consumers. No fucking shit. I wonder what the average person is using it for. By the way, I've got some anecdotal tales of people who've come to me, especially back when I was doing the Botany 101 thing, talking about entheogens, talking about drug usage, actually. And yeah, and there's some anecdotal tales there, people being helped by it. So they're trying to ban it for a reason. They want people addicted. Biden admin warns Texas it will sue if the state implements strict immigration law. Yes, if a state decides that it will do the job that the federal government is incapable and unwilling to do, they will be sued by the Biden administration. But don't worry, Joe Biden assures you he's got the border under control, mainly because Kamala Harris is the border czar. I'm sure she's really doing a good job there. We'll talk about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I've got some thoughts on that shit. Also, Nikki Haley getting trolled in the wake of, again, her self-own. She's become the new John Kerry, actually. And I agree with that particular moniker. She is a flip-flopper on multiple issues, including the Confederacy, it seems. So we'll be talking about that. Israel warns about Lebanon border hostilities. The hourglass for a political settlement is running out. Basically, you do your job or we'll do it for you. What Texas is trying to do, actually, on the southern border, ironically enough. And then Pierce Brosnan, you'll remember him as 007 for several movies. And he decided to traipse around at Yellowstone, outside of the area that you're supposed to traipse around in, possibly killing himself in the process. I have my own thoughts on this, and I don't care if Pierce Brosnan, of all people, wants to wander around off-trail in Yellowstone National Park. Alan Tenaz, how do you make an egg roll? I wouldn't know. I've never made one, actually. You push it. Clank. Oh, goodness. Blue de Gaulier, welcome one back to States. Thank you very much. S.C. Woods, 1947 on Rumble. Slava Ukraini. Yes, indeed. They're still putting up the fight, but it's like, I don't know, the fight is going to last for years and years, probably. You watch Trump gets reelected, all of a sudden the Russians decide to negotiate, and then people say it's because he's a Russian pawn or some dumb shit like that. Heraclius 610. It's time to revive U.S. civic religion. What resources do you know of, especially stuff that contains information about the civic religion of Reconstruction and the Gilded Age? Those would be most helpful, friend. I don't have any specific literature, but I do agree with you and that basic summation. It is time to restore the original U.S. civic religion, which had nothing to do with church religion. It had to do with an appreciation for the United States as sort of being anointed, so to speak. And it worked well, and it can still work well. Stannis 760, Juggalo Nation, #1. I was never into that sort of thing. I was never into the Juggalo sort of stuff. Anyway, just a second here, because, God, Opera, can you please get your shit together? Trump dominates GOP primary as challengers crash into the rules of political gravity. There's an awful lot of gravity on two particular people within the primaries right now, and it doesn't look good for them. Ron DeSantis has slipped in Iowa. Trump is now above 50 there. He's definitely slipped in New Hampshire. He's arguably in fourth place He's sort of more down by Ramaswamy than anything else in New Hampshire. He's in third in South Carolina. That's okay, though, because that's Nikki Haley's home state. So if she does not take second there, she's completely knocked out of the park. And then you've got Nikki Haley. She's still riding around where DeSantis is in Iowa. She's ahead in New Hampshire, actually within a low double-digit margin of Donald Trump. And then in South Carolina, obviously, again, with the home state advantage, she's in second place. The problem for Nikki Haley is that any last-minute momentum she was getting, I think it's blunted by her Civil War thing, because it was so widely reported on. And I've never met a core Nikki Haley fan. I have a feeling that the people supporting her are people that don't like Donald Trump, but don't think Ron DeSantis can win. And that's really her coalition, that and a bunch of neocons that want more world wars. Well, that's not a huge coalition. Maybe that's 20% of the GOP, 25 if you're pushing it. And that's assuming that you can outcompete Ron DeSantis to the point where he has to drop at some point. I have a feeling that my prediction will remain true. Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley both remain in through possibly Super Tuesday. DeSantis would be crazy to do that, but he's made a bunch of mistakes, so I have no reason to believe that he won't. And they grapple with each other for second place, thus denying either of them any real viability. And regards to Nikki Haley, we'll also be talking about her getting trolled later, again, with regards to getting called the next John Kerry. Somebody said earlier that the quote was the next Mitt Romney, the new Mitt Romney, but actually it was John Kerry that was invoked. It is definitely true, though. She flip-flops on every issue. Well, I'm going to tear down these Confederate statues and don't forget who did it. Oh, but yeah, the Civil War was mainly about states' rights and stuff like that. Yeah. Dr. Strange, I miss showering with you during AM live streams. Next week, I will probably have a new schedule in mind. AM could be a thing. Later on in the evening / afternoon could be a thing. Although it seems that people are still tuning in when I go this time of day. I mean, there's not much competition because it's sort of an off hour. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. Most of my audience is US-based. For live, I mean, you're not pre-recording or anything like that. You got to respond to chat. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I might do both in the end, but I've got so much other work to do. Please do give me a little bit of time because I've got cleaning to do. I've got organizing to do. I've got planning to do. I've got a shit ton to do. So it's definitely been quite strenuous, my schedule lately. Wilden, I'm a 22-year-old Gen Zer, been watching since 2015. I wonder how many other people my age watch your content. Thank you for the great content, Trump 2024. Quite a few people in their 20s watch the content. The average age is slightly younger than me, actually, so I've got a relatively young audience. There are also older people that watch. There are a handful of people under 17 that watch, although mainly they're not going to be able to see my content because YouTube's going to hide it from them because I say fuck, so... Yeah. Billy, you can build or assemble a PSA AR. Very easy, Sticks. You have a brain and a modicum of gun knowledge. Building is self-fulfilling. I built a 224 Valkyrie. Interesting. Tripman, Kratom more or less saved my life, allowing me to rejoin the workforce after years of being messed up from pills. I suppose Big Pharma doesn't approve. Yeah, they want you to keep buying the pills, of course. Lewis at GM, hey Sticks, can we get a shout out? Our game Eden Growl got a huge update recently. Okay, we've got Eden Growl or Eden Growl. You can get a shout out, of course. Alamandorius, finally caught you live. Want to get back to work after Christmas vacation, not going to be able to tune in. It's funny how people can't seem to understand how S3 of the 14th works. Been running into that a lot. Yeah, you're supposed to be convicted before you're punished. Liberals didn't get the memo. Melkor, repeal the 19th. No women voting, no women in politics. I wouldn't support that myself, but it can be a little bit of a satirical line. People are saying repeal the second, etc. Jake Lanarino, hey Hammer, your shoutouts got me over 1,000 new subs and counting on my way to 6K. Woohoo! I'm a touring stand-up comedian and a huge fan. All right, we've got a stand-up comedian here. Pile on in, clankers. Get some humor. Alan Tenaz. On a serious note, I bought your memetics book earlier this year. I think it's even more important read going into 2024. Hail to the meme wars. Yes, they continue. My second nephew, here, have some of that fiat crap. I will take it very gladly. You know, he's trade it for gold or silver or something like that if you want to. Deadstar. School vouchers are basically desegregation busing 2.0, a quick way to diversify suburban schools overnight and price middle-class whites out of even more good education. You support this because why? Because I believe that everyone should have the right to get an education where they want to. If they want to go further to the next neighborhood, I don't see why the state should have any problem with that. Melkor. Name one woman in politics that has had a positive influence. Tulsi Gabbard comes to mind. Kristi Noem comes to mind. Carrie Lake comes to mind. Melania Trump. I mean, if you consider that position to be at least vaguely political. Yeah, Thatcher. You can't be serious there. Absolutely. Yvonne Hudson. What's your favorite author? Sticks. James P. Blaylock. He did Homunculus and he did the Bolumnia trilogy, actually, with Elfinship, my favorite book of all time. Next news story. This one hits a little bit close, and I'll try to explain. Kratom, often marketed as a health product, faces scrutiny over danger to consumers. Yes, believe it or not, the opioid light is not something that you should start using out of the blue. That makes a whole lot of sense. I've known at least dozens of people throughout my lifetime as a content creator because I get to hear from people their stories about things. I've known dozens of people who were addicted to painkillers, who are addicted in some cases to heroin and things like that. These days with fentanyl, that's probably way more powerful. I don't know if Kratom could really make up for that, but I've known people that were addicted to heroin, to oxys and Vike and so forth, and they used Kratom as an alternative to that to try to mellow out the symptoms of withdrawal so that they didn't have to drink themselves into a frenzy, basically. Apparently that can block opioid withdrawals to some extent as well. And it's done well for them. And some of them are completely clean and have been for an extended period of time. I think that Kratom should be legal. I do not think it should be regulated the same as I think about all other drugs. It should simply be deregulated, decriminalized. That being said, if you're not already addicted to an opioid, so you're not snorting oxy powder, you're not shooting heroin or something like that, I would say that it's a good idea to avoid it. It should not be used. It is addictive. It should not be used as a recreational drug. But is it a better version of methadone? Yeah. Based on what I've seen from people in their own anecdotal reports to me, it's basically like the less harmful, less addictive version of methadone. So that somebody who is pilled up, they're wasting their life snorting or taking pills, or in some cases shoving them up their ass, actually. That's actually a method of delivery for numerous drugs. One of the fastest, ironically enough. Somebody is taking oxys 5 times a day just to, exist. Then they use Kratom. It takes the edge off the withdrawals and they can get clean. And then they're withdrawing off of this weaker drug, the Kratom itself, and it becomes easier. I think that's a good thing. I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that drug use should be decriminalized completely. But I think that we should have addiction treatment. And if you have a substance that is capable of delivering that in a sane manner, I support it completely. Just don't use it if you're not already addicted to a substance that you're trying to withdraw off of. And don't trade addictions, because that's always a bad idea. Years ago, when I got clean from smoking, I took up the bottle in order to blunt the symptoms of withdrawal. Well, I quit the smoking. Well, that's wonderful. Yay, I'm tobacco free. But then I wanted to drink more than I was before. My drinking formerly had been more or less under control, but it became sort of like a security blanket thing. Kratom is weaker than heroin, to be clear. The reason why the pharmaceutical companies and the government would be going after it is because it's getting people clean. They don't want them clean. They want addicts. So what they want is for you to buy more of their pills and to stay high. They don't care if you're, doing anything with your life or being productive. They just want you to buy the pills. They always subsidize that buying too. That's why they use methadone instead. Probably it's the methadone lobby more than anything else that wants Kratom off the shelves. It's still, I think it's semi-controlled now, if I remember correctly, in the United States, but it's still available. Sort of like falls into the Salvia divinorum category, if I remember correctly. But I did know over time dozens of people who had been on hardcore opioids. So they were dosing themselves with oxy all day. They were slamming down the Vicodin. In some cases, they were literally using heroin, and they got clean because of Kratom. It's not necessarily the most effective way for some people, but if it can help somebody, I think that it should be legal. And the thing is, they're propagandizing about it. Oh my God, there are health risks associated with the substance. Okay, yeah, absolutely. That's like saying there are health risks associated with methadone. Of course there are. But if it can get a heroin addict free of heroin, I don't understand why anyone would have a problem with that. And ultimately, people that are intelligent enough to hopefully try to get sober, to try to get clean, are going to follow the advice of people many times online who have used Kratom and similar substances. Ibogaine, that shows promise in some clinical trials. Psilocybin, certainly, at reevaluating their lives, taking the edge off withdrawal, and getting clean. I see no problem whatsoever with that. I can understand why the pharmaceutical companies would. Melkor. Oh, I did that one. Travis Pickle. Hey, Sticks. First time, long time. Don't underestimate that chip challenge. No, I guarantee I won't enjoy it when I take the one chip challenge. But I must do it. Alamandoria. Sticks, in all seriousness, doesn't this whole situation seem like a trap? Like someone wants to drive a massive wedge into the U.S. and break it apart. Yeah, communists are trying to do that actively. That's why CRT exists. Absolutely. Jeff Speakman. Sticks, you a big King Diamond fan? Seems like you would be or would have been. Not a huge fan, but I have listened to some King Diamond, and I liked what I heard. I like things that are harder than that, though. It's like I'm not a big Venom fan or something like that. The bonus holes. They should make smoking DMT, not ayahuasca, but a breakthrough dose of smoked DMT, a part of drug recovery programs. Just give them ayahuasca. Lizard Party, I've been watching you before 2016 on various accounts. We'll be watching all next year. If Trump is taken off ballot in non-red states, should we vote for RFK to take electoral votes away from Biden? No, you should vote for Trump. These decisions have to do with the primaries, not with the general election. If Trump is the nominee, it's not clear they're going to be able to do anything to stop him. Well, I mean, they'll still do the lawfare thing, but they can't keep him off the ballot. He'll have too much support. Alan Tenaz, I used Kratom to stop drinking, but it kills your boner. I'm off it now because I like women more, but good to get clean. Yeah, I mean, if it can get you sober from some sort of substance, fucking yeah, absolutely. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing for somebody to get sober. I mean, when the government's telling you, hey, drink up, kid, smoke up, don't you think there's a little bit of a problem? Peyton Walter sent $100, by the way. Thank you very much. Lindsey Graham spanks it to faces of death. Peace out. Easily worth $100. Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. Lindsey Graham, of course, I announced this morning, he was warmongering after the Iranians again. Blow them off the map. There's a big problem. They're supporting Hezbollah. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know, if you want to start World War III, as I'm sure Lindsey Graham and his boomer rage does, yeah, that's a good way to do it. I think that he beats off to dead children and things like that. I allege that that's a possibility. I have a feeling that it's actually more true than we would like to admit in our dark humor here. Deadstar, how about people deserve to get educations in the communities their parents can support? Why do I have the right to the services of a community I don't contribute to? Isn't that communism? No, and I believe that Trump is correct and that homeschoolers and people that use vouchers for a private school should be reimbursed for that as well. Heraclius 610. Biden will grant amnesty and the franchise to the invaders for the 2024 October surprise. You heard it first here. Yeah, that wouldn't matter because they wouldn't be able to vote. They wouldn't be citizens. Firenicator. Alex Stein did the one-chip challenge on Timcast IRL. Check it out before you do. Oh, I know that it's going to be painful. I'm probably going to vomit, actually. Chirocon. I heard a new leftoid term today. Eco-anxiety. They have anxiety a lot. It's just, you know, leftoids. They can't help it. They're mentally weak. Aaron Nuclear from the over 50 crowd. Have a wonderful holiday season and keep up the good work of opening the eyes of the populace. I'm trying to, but it's hard to pry them open sometimes. There are people right now who don't understand the concept of due process, and they got their opinion about it from a 2-minute MSNBC clip. BW, do you think migrants being imported to be used as an army? No, I think they're being used as slave labor more than anything else, and the Republicans therefore go along with it because they like the concept. Next news story, speaking about migrants, Biden administration warns Texas it will sue if state implements strict immigration law. Yes, SB 4. Under SB 4, according to Greg Abbott and the legislature there, if you illegally immigrate across the border into Texas, they will charge you. They're not taking shit anymore. They've run out of other options. They're not allowed to guard the Rio Grande with the buoy system. They're not allowed to put up container walls to fill in the gaps that weren't filled by the Uniparty before, because they were reluctant to fund the Trump wall. And so Greg Abbott, having bust out probably hundreds of thousands of people to Chicago and New York at this point, said enough is enough. If you come into the state illegally, we'll detain you. We'll do the job that the federal government is unwilling and incapable of doing. Now they're threatening to sue him. The Justice Department said it would file a lawsuit against SB 4 if Texas did not assure federal officials by January 3rd that the state would refrain from enforcing the law as planned in March, according to a letter sent to Greg Abbott on December 28th and obtained by CBS News. In addition to creating illegal entry crimes at the state level, the law would allow Texas judges to issue de facto deportation orders. In its letter, the Justice Department said SB 4 would effectively criminalize actions that are already illegal at the federal level, undermine relations with Mexico, I don't know fucking why, and prevent officials from enforcing federal immigration laws, including those designed to grant refuge to migrants fleeing persecution. Well, see, here's the problem. You're not actually enforcing those laws. That's why Texas is doing this. That's why container walls are still up in parts of Arizona. You're not enforcing the border in any way, shape, or form. You've abandoned it completely and said, come all ye faithful, give us your tired and poor. It doesn't matter if you do it the legal way or if you just storm across, and it doesn't matter anything else. Oh, you're a terrorist? Well, that's perfectly fine. Oh, well, you're a felon, repeat felon over in Mexico. You know, you broke out of jail and now you're coming. That's fine too. We don't have a problem with that. That's basically what the federal government is saying right now. It's weak, it's feckless, it's pathetic. There is no border effectively. Now we have a state that's attempting to enforce its own border laws because the federal government is unwilling and incapable of doing so. And instead of saying, thank you, that'll be a less of a burden for taxpayers in other states. We appreciate the fact that you're helping to guard the border. Instead, they say, now we're going to sue you. You're not allowed to supersede the laws that we ourselves have completely ignored for the last few years. I think that at this point, Biden should be blocked from the ballot in certain red states. They should do exactly what's being done to Trump, forcing a SCOTUS case even faster, by the way, and simply say, well, if you're not guarding the border, you are delinquent in your oath of office, and therefore you're guilty of insurrection. Second Amendment sent $4. No comment. Thank you very much. Jordan Cogburn. All the madness we are seeing is the result of the false weight and measure abomination known as fractional reserve banking. It goes further than that. That's more just a symptom. The Nerdwire. Trump's primary cock has so much gravity, it's mashing his so-called competition into shit pulp. Yeah, Donald Trump is now, he's riding above 50 in Iowa. He's riding in the mid-40s in New Hampshire, and Haley just fucked herself, so I don't think he has a problem there. He's ahead by 30-35 in South Carolina, her home state. Ron DeSantis in New Hampshire has disappeared off the radar. I think it's going to be pretty formulaic how the primaries end up. I think that Donald Trump will win every state, some closer than others. In some cases, it'll be by a huge margin. In others, it'll be by a slimmer margin, but I think that he wins them all. I don't think that he has to really worry about that. He should go back to Iowa and New Hampshire a couple more times. Of course, you know, the voting begins pretty soon. By the way, I will definitely be live streaming on Iowa's caucus night, as well as New Hampshire's primary night. It'll be funny because, of course, the Dem primary includes a write-in for Joe Biden. We'll see exactly what that margin is. Yeah, he'll still win, by the way. He'll be above 50. But it will be funny. It'll be funny to see how many votes he hemorrhages in New Hampshire by having disgraced the state and forced them to try to stand down. Raymond Martin, is this your new streaming schedule? For today, yes. For next week, I'm not sure. I'm still doing 10 other things at the same time, so give me a little bit of time to reformulate. But I will be streaming on weekdays throughout the indefinite future. Yeah. Next news story. This one's a little bit sad. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who pleaded guilty to helping kill her abusive mother, is released from prison. Finally, in this particular case, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was an abused child. Her mother clearly suffered from advanced Munchausen syndrome, probably among other things. She forced her daughter, at a young age, she's a teenager at the time, to pretend to be sick, convinced her that she was younger than she actually was, that she was mentally retarded and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. She had Munchausen syndrome. It's a recognized medical disorder. It seems fairly plain. This girl then reached out online. Somehow, inexplicably, she was at least allowed to use the internet, the one small comfort in her dire world, I'm sure. And she got a boyfriend. And she explained the situation. I'm being abused and stuff. And, would you help me get out of this? Now, keep in mind, she's been tormented for years and massively mentally abused, controlled, effectively imprisoned in her home for most intents and purposes, other than reaching out online. So she reaches out to her boyfriend and says, kill my mother. And he did. And he's still serving time in prison. I look at it this way. I don't think she should have served a goddamn day. If you are being tormented and abused relentlessly, gaslit on a constant basis, and held prisoner in your own home, you are justified under self-defense, in my opinion, at doing what you need to do to escape. Now, you may say, well, she should have contacted the authorities. If you're being held effectively prisoner and prevented from doing so, and you're being mentally controlled, so you don't know that there's any legal recourse for your situation. You don't know that you can call up the cops and say, hey, this is happening, this, and this, because you're a fucking teenager. I don't know. I don't think that she should have served time in prison. As far as the boyfriend, I would let him go as well. I would let him go. Yeah, he killed somebody. Effectively, how is that different from killing a criminal who's holding somebody hostage? I think this was a miscarriage of justice. He should be out. This is not a murderous individual. This was an individual trying to defend another helpless individual, trying to defend his girlfriend who's being tormented and psychologically abused. The fact that she served years in prison for this, effectively ceding her youth, she's in her 30s now, she's closer to my age. The fact that she had to go through that, it must be hell. And now she's out, but she's got a felony conviction against her. It's going to make it very difficult for a person who's already psychologically scarred for years and years as a youth by an abusive mother to get a job, to have kids, to have a normal relationship. What do you expect her to do? She's going to go through living hell still. It doesn't matter if she's out of prison at this point. The dude in the case, again, only did that. He claimed at trial. He's like, well, she asked me and she told me to kill her. But so what? It was justified. It's effectively self-defense. I mean, if somebody's holding it, let's say that somebody comes into my house, holds me hostage in this bedroom for an extended period of time, and I stab them. Am I going to get a murder charge from doing so? No, of course not. Why is it that because she was the mother specifically that all of a sudden it becomes justified to do effectively the same thing? It actually makes my blood boil a little bit. I think it should be perfectly acceptable to kill your captive. Your captor. We would understand that. Like, let's say that somebody goes crazy at Walmart tomorrow in Rutland, takes me hostage, and I open up fire and I kill them. I'm not going to be charged with anything. They're trying to take me hostage. They're waving a gun around, doing crazy shit. How is it any different when you're a minor and you're under somebody else's legal authority and they're abusing you and preventing you with interacting with the outside world and trying to constantly manipulate you into thinking that you're sick mentally and physically and in every other way? Why is it unjustified to defend yourself in that position? And if you're a teenage girl and you're not physically capable of doing that and you call in the cavalry, what the fuck wrong was done? The mother deserved to die. Now, she came out and she said, well, I do regret it. She should be in the jail cell now instead of me, but I regret, having her killed. Well, yeah, but you were a teen. You're a stupid teen. You didn't know any better. I mean, put her in juvie for a year or something like that. Let her finish out to 18. They should scrub her fucking record. I think personally she was totally justified, and so is the dude, and I hope that he's released. It's retarded what happened in this case. Dat Pie over there. Today on Sticks Down, to finish off the year, we have Anton versus Wasted for the championship. Anton starts by spraying a blend of herbs and spices to attempt to cure Wasted. Wasted's rotting flesh resists. Anton goes to take a swing with his slab of bison, but Wasted catches it and rots into sludge in his hands and clotheslines Anton into it. He's up and uses code STICKS to ship Wasted out of the ring. Anton has a shot. He jumps from the top rope to slap him on the ground with a meat pie, But oh no, wasted through his leg and causes Anton's to crash. Barely missing tombstone. 1, 2, 3, and still champ wasted. Congrats to wasted bonehead. You have beaten the biltong for now. Anton, you should use the extra spicy one. Captain Tallywhacker Num Nom should check out Maki Punk Rock. Great Again's new tune. Diversity, equity, and seclusion. Would love to hear your take. Rock on. Sounds pretty good. Yeah, seclusion. Yeah, so as far as Gypsy Rose Blanchard goes, I think she was justified. I think the boyfriend was justified. The fact that her crazy mother died is not necessarily a loss to the world. And so I'm glad that she's out, and hopefully she can find some solace, even though the system will be rigged against her for the rest of her life because she's known now as an accessory to murder. I think that's bullshit. Trip Boom. Afternoon, Sticks. Did you see the reply from Firecracker Farms on the shoutout video? If you didn't, definitely take a look. Pretty awesome. They even replied to me as well. No, I didn't. I'll have to check that out. Thank you for telling me. Let me go just a sec. I'll cue that up for after. The Nerdwire. It's going to look real bad when Uncle Ron loses his own state to Trump. Absolutely. He should kill his campaign now if he wants to preserve any sliver of a future career. He should stay in until Nevada, and then he should drop out. Plausible situation. You probably take a close second in Iowa. In New Hampshire, you get fucked up. In South Carolina, there's always the possibility DeSantis just manages to edge Nikki Haley out, which I would congratulate him for if that happens. And then you go into Nevada, Trump takes that. It won't be hard. Just don't stay in on Super Tuesday when Florida votes. That would be my advice, because Ron DeSantis will then be humiliated. And if you want to have any form of political career, you can't get humiliated in your own home state. Mikahuntu 4X Spot. Would you go on the Side Scrollers podcast with Razor? Yeah, and I'll bring pineapple pizza, actually, when I do. Next news story. Just in, young kid trolls Nikki Haley at campaign stop. And this is the quote from, you can a link in the description. You can watch the video. By the way, link posted at the top in the comments on YouTube and pinned and cross-platform in the description to my books blog. It may be after Christmas, but you can still buy some cool shit there. Hundreds and hundreds of edited works, as well as dozens of works by yours truly. Some politics, some occultism, some humor. Got a little bit of everything. Look up Orange Man Big. That was definitely one that people fucking liked. Just in. This is the quote. So, Chris Christie thinks that you're a flip-flopper on the Donald Trump issue. I would have said more of a flip-flopper on the Civil War issue, but we'll get past it. And honestly, I agree with him. You're basically the new John Kerry. I want to meet this child's parents and shake their hands. Nikki Haley is having a real fucking tough end of the week. First, you've got the Civil War comments, and everyone's rambling about how fucking stupid you are. Then you double down. The next day, she comes out and she says, no, I realize the Civil War is about slavery, but this is what I meant. And I made a video this morning. She should not have bothered to elaborate. Either apologize unrepentantly and completely, or go in the opposite direction, say, look, what I said was perfectly acceptable and normal. I was clearly referencing slavery in my comments with regards to human rights. The fact that I didn't use the term, it doesn't matter. I was clearly referencing it. Stop having a stick up your ass. Nikki Haley had those two choices of how to deal with the situation. And instead, she decided the other day to say, well, yeah, I know it's about slavery, but let me elaborate further. This is what I really meant. But that's exactly the wrong thing that you could possibly do. And now she's getting trolled for flip-flopping on the Donald Trump issue, which, I mean, she's been criticized for it before, but this is a fairly young individual, and she does the shit-eating grin thing. She looked like Kamala Harris for a moment there. That is not a good idea when you're just a couple of weeks away from voting in goddamn Iowa. Nikki Haley should have just shut the fuck up and not even gone to any further events. She shouldn't have even, I mean, you've New Hampshire, second place you've got in the bag. It would have been better to just pound the state with ads, which I keep seeing on TV. By the way, finally, the other day, I finally saw a Trump ad. Pound it with ads, hope to eke out a win or at least be a close second place in New Hampshire. Deal with the fact that you may or may not have the second, more distant, in Iowa. If you do get that, DeSantis is knocked out, probably has to drop out even before South Carolina. And then at the very least, you run second place in all additional states, and you have some delegates. You have some leverage. You have a political future. Nikki Haley destroyed that. I have a feeling that Nikki Haley has destroyed her future political career. I'm not complaining. I mean, I don't find this to be problematic in any way, shape, or form. I'm very glad about that, actually. But, I mean, while I love to see it, it's like, holy shit. You're the most rhetorically talented person on the debate stage. And you decided to make this mistake, and it makes absolutely no sense. Baron Von Blair, Larry's funeral went well. No sigil stone v wasted melees or any other zombie shenanigans occurred. Appreciate all your work, Sticks. Clank. Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear it. Let's see. Deadstar, did you really say on stream yesterday you don't care if you are searched and have nothing to hide? This cannot be the way America's foremost libertarian speaks. Say the word, Sticks. I do not consent. Yeah, well, that won't be happening anymore. Again, I'm not going to get into that issue. Everything is handled on my end. Don't worry about it. The Virgo on Fire, will you please consider making a locals community for all us clankers to be able to gather in one place to talk and also possibly interact with you more? I'd pay $5 a month to support you there. I don't know. I've not used locals. I don't even 100% know exactly how it works. I'd consider it, but I'm already on so many sites. I'm spread so thin, and my time is spread so thin. It's like, how much interaction can I do? I can't. I honestly, I hate to say this, and no offense. I mean, it's a good point. No offense, but there's no way that I can spend more than a small amount of time interacting with people unless it's like on a live stream like this. Number one, I have to make money. I do have people reliant on me. Number two, this is sort of my forte, video style stuff and literature. And number three, I've got so many links, so many goddamn accounts. It's almost difficult to actually keep them in line already. So I can look into it, but I would say I'm doubtful whether I would join locals. Drennan, Sigil Stone should team up with Andy Six, and Wasted Bonehead should team up with Merle Allen. Oh, God. There'd be a lot of shitting going on. CBS News reporting. Israel warns about Lebanon border hostilities. The hourglass for a political settlement is running out. Yes, Israel has warned Lebanon that if they do not change their behavior and start shoving Hezbollah away from the Israeli border, that they might invade, which would lead to a regional war, actually. They could just do airstrikes and stuff like that, but I mean, they're kind of bogged down in Gaza now, aren't they? The IDF is a reasonably competent, technologically advanced military, but they only have a certain amount of manpower and firepower. You only have so many rocket launchers, and it doesn't matter how good they are. If you move material to the Lebanese border, it's not participating in Gaza. It's not on the border of the West Bank. It's up by Lebanon. They'd be stretching themselves a little bit thin with an additional front being open, and they probably would have to open that additional front. So it'd be a little bit difficult. And personally, I think that it would be best if people just left each other alone and stopped bombing one another's kids and, raping one another's dead corpses. But nobody wants to listen to me, so I guess the war will continue. What they should do is just have a third party come in and unilaterally broker things and say, okay, clearly you no longer have legitimate diplomatic agency to decide your own concerns because you're just going to fuck each other in the ass for the rest of time like you're a weird anal 69ing. So somebody else will come in and lay down the groundwork and you say yay or nay, and then the whole world just ignores you unless you butcher each other if you say nay or something like that. My hope is that Donald Trump gets back into office so the Western world can actually exert influence within the region. I have a feeling hostilities will lessen if that occurs. If Joe Biden is reelected, you're not going to see peace for a long time because nobody gives a fucking shit what the United States has to say. Yeah, it'll be an anal 69ing between the Israelis and the Palestinians perpetually for the rest of time, pooping all over one another forever. Huntgar, check out Xstar for your garden pests. I got a few garden things today, actually. And that shelf, I'm going to mount a grow lamp on it, and the bottom two shelves are actually for seedlings for the spring. Going to be growing because I don't want to spend money on pre-sprouted seedlings when I can do it a lot cheaper myself. There's going to be okra because I really want to put that in chili and jambalaya and things like that, gumbo. There'll be okra, some poblano peppers, actually. Those are, I think, my favorite of all of the hot peppers. I should probably get some Anaheims too, just to balance it out. And various other things, some herbs. secret herbs and spices for my top secret fried chicken recipe that literally everyone who's ever eaten has said is fucking delicious. The Gen X Gamer, Sticks, content request. Can you do a vid on the current state of the Libertarian Party and your thoughts on it? As a Libertarian voter, I'm finding it hard to support the party after Jorgensen. They've recovered from Jorgensen, thankfully. I will be voting for Trump, but I do have a soft spot for the Libertarian Party, although I do not necessarily agree with every member of its leadership on every issue. This is the joy of libertarianism. Lizard Party, I was told by my family I can't be conservative because I'm not religious. Thoughts on that? Well, as a non-conservative and a non-religious person, I don't see why. Okay, I want lower taxes, government leave me alone more, I like guns, but I don't believe in going to church. I don't see that as irreconcilable. I think they're mistaking conservatism for moralism. Paul, for hot but on butt action, press Gaza, lol. Alamandorius, I was a gardener like you once, then I took an arrow to the knee. Hell, I don't care if I took an arrow to the knee, I'd still go out there and be clearing weeds. The Virgo on fire, I get that, but I also think the community aspect would be great. People can join for free, but in order to post or comment, you have to pay and you choose the minimum monthly amount. Yeah, I don't really believe in making people pay for that sort of thing. It's like maybe if I did like an exclusive video or something that was pay-per-view or something, that'd be fine, but obviously it'd be a longer one. Egoblino, are you going to do another debate? Oh, plenty of debates. Both debates and appearances and having other people on my channel. It's just for the immediate future, over the next week or two, I'm still sorting things out here. I'm still reformatting the office and doing 10,000 other things, so it takes time. Virgo on fire. It's also a one-stop shop for all your announcements if you decide to use it that way, and helpful for those of us who aren't on Twitter to see what you post there. I like Twitter, actually. I mean, in the modern, the Elon Musk era. I like the chaos. And the final news story of the day, Pierce Brosnan, yes, of course, 007 himself, heading to court after violating closures at Yellowstone National Park. They gave him 2 citations. Brosnan, 70, was cited for foot travel in all thermal areas and within Yellowstone Canyon confined to trails and violating closures and use limits, according to the U.S. District Court of Wyoming docket. This is a little bit of a waste of time now, isn't it? This is Pierce Brosnan. He clearly wants to wander all over. If he falls in a thermal vent and dies, who gives a fuck? I mean, it's his life. He takes his risks if he wanders off the trail. I'm sure that he's intelligent enough to be aware of the risk. Hey, that soil there might be 2 inches of crust over a highly acidic boiling bath of fucking sub-lava, and it will melt you in 5 or 6 seconds and you'll die very painfully. Over here, we have more boiling water, and you should not swim in it because you will die very quickly. You will begin to shut down within 10 seconds, and you won't even have the strength to get back out of the goddamn water. Who cares? In my opinion, in national parks, etc., people should be able to wander where they want. Go ahead and feed the bears. He might eat you. He might rip your face off. As long as someone's not endangering a child or other dependent, let adults do what they want. The dude's 70 years old. He's fucking Pierce Brosnan, and he's an action movie star. By the way, underrated, in my opinion. Maybe not as good as Sean Connery, but he did a competent job. There's nothing particularly wrong with his performance as Bond. I mean, he wants some adventure, man. He wants to get closer to the boiling water. Well, if he falls in, who cares? He's 70 years old. He's not making any more kids or anything like that. Probably not doing much in the movie sense either. He just wants to enjoy his latter days of life and have a little fun. I love wandering all over hell. That's like telling me, like, when I'm 70, you're not allowed to wander around the woods. You might fall off the high cliffs that are out behind your home, which there are quite a few of, actually. It's a rather steep incline. If you fell off of it and you were older, you definitely at least break your hip and probably sit there suffering for an extended period. You might die. But who cares? I mean, you're old. Who gives a fuck? I don't understand. I don't think that there should be guardrails on life so much as there are. We're always trying to keep people safe. Well, why don't we keep people having fun? I think that's much better. You're going to die someday anyway. Okay, you want to wander around in the acidic soil and possibly melt through the surface and get dissolved. I don't know. Just make it a rule that you're not going to get extracted from the vent, and your skeleton will just go underground slowly down into the thermal vents and be lost forever. Drennan Sticks, if you really like curry, you should grow your own turmeric. I don't know if I could do that in this climate. And with a grow lamp, I suppose I could do it indoors. That stuff, by the way, will stain you yellow. You have to be careful and use gloves with turmeric. Steve Polychronopoulos Sticks, would you wish my father a happy birthday? Larry in Greeley. He turned 81 years young yesterday. Unlike Brandon, he's competent and able-bodied, rides his bikes 20 miles a day, and listens to Sticks. This sounds like my kind of clanker. Happy birthday to Larry in Greeley, 81 years young. May you have many more years, my fellow clanker. I like hearing fun stories like that. Senor Faces. Tarl Warwick on PKA will be my dream as Fumo of you. There will never be a Fumo. Orwell's Goon. To your point a few days ago, the last state to outlaw slavery was New Jersey. I thought the Union was benevolent. Also, this calendar gate crap is gay. Yeah, I saw that they had like the redheaded libertarian and other, conservative women pose. They weren't even in like pinup mode or anything. They're fully clothed. They made a calendar that people can buy. It's the men's calendar for 2024. Nobody's naked or anything like that. And there are people that are getting all hot and bothered and all moralistic about it. Oh my God, she showed her knees. The redheaded libertarian, she showed her elbows. Oh my God. Well, that's a sin, quite clearly. There are other female commentators. They're the most vicious. Some of the female commentators from the moralistic right wing are the biggest bitchers about this. I'm not complaining. I don't see the problem with it. Who fucking cares? They're clothed more than the average person who goes to the goddamn beach. Who fucking cares? I guess you're not allowed to go to the beach. You're not allowed to go anywhere. You walk down the street, you'll see people wearing less clothes than that. It's sub pinup. Who cares? Holy shit. Yeah, they showed their ankles. It's a sin against Jesus Christ. Calendar gate. It's not even a gate. There's no scandal to be had there. That's the whole point. It's a handful of MGTOW moralists who hate the fact that there are women who are commentators who have a significant audience, plus jealous females. They're jealous of how pretty some of the women in the calendar are. It really is nothing more than teen angst, goddamn jealousy, couched in moralistic facade. Well, what would Jesus say? I don't think that Jesus has a problem with you showing your knees. I'm not thinking you're going to hell because you showed less cleavage than the average flight attendant. I'm just not seeing it, dude. I don't get it. Yeah, cover the ankles. Barefoot and in the kitchen. Like all of those trad women who are dogpiling them. Well, you're not real trad women because you're in a pinup calendar. Okay, yeah, it's real trad to bitch about other people's clothing choices when they are fully clothed. Again, there are people at the beach that wear far, far less than that. You want to see sexy time women wearing as little as possible, go to the goddamn beach. You're not going to get in this calendar. It's a pinup calendar. They've had these for a long time. People used to have it. I mean, are you saying that there was a lack of rigorous Christian moralism in like the 30s or 40s? Like in the World War II era? The dudes over in World War I. You think the dudes in the trenches didn't have pinup photos? Yeah, bullshit. Fucking horseshit. Lifecock, I'm late. Brief recap on Kratom, please. I support its usage when it's being used for getting over other addictions. I have warned people that if you're not addicted to something that you're attempting to utilize that for, it is a bad idea to begin with because it is itself addictive. But if you're addicted to heroin, and Kratom can get you off heroin, potentially, it doesn't always work, but there's a chance of it, and you use it and you're successful, I don't see the problem. I think that's a net positive for the world. Really, the pharmaceutical companies are the ones trying to nip that in the bud. Yeah, World War II, you'll see more skin in a World War II men's calendar than you did in the 2024 one. But somehow that's a big problem. It's a sign of the degeneracy of the Christian female within the United States. There's some bullshit like that. Should probably make a goddamn video about that tomorrow. It's horseshit. Cyber Yankee, please check Styx fans on locals, and thank you for using our wizardly powers to tame that lapel. Yeah, it finally is laying flat, more or less, depending on the day. Yeah. Oh my God, she showed her ankles. Like I saw her calves, and they were shaved too. So they're a big sin. Jesus is judging her. I don't know. I don't get that sort of thing. I've never been really moralistic. I've been more hedonistic than anything else. But even if I was, I don't think that I would have a problem with somebody showing their knees. Oh my God, here's, again, the redheaded libertarian. She's got one leg up, sort of like in an old 50s sort of style. She's cooking and she's in the kitchen where she belongs, according to these other fucking commentators, these fucking retards, these bitches. What the fuck is the problem? You're going to see more skin in a calendar from 1952. Nobody has a problem with that. If I put that up in the background and have like the 1952 pinup calendar or something like that, you'll see more skin and people won't pretend to be annoyed or offended by it. And because all those women are 90 years old or dead. Who cares? Yeah, exactly. Jesus hung out with prostitutes and stuff. You think he cares about somebody baking cookies in their kitchen showing their knees? Yeah, I don't think so. I just, no, I just don't believe that. Not that I believe in religion, but even if I was religious, I'd be like, okay, these are fully clothed women. It's, there's some cute photos in there. And, this one is waxing a car. That one's in the kitchen and stuff. Again, where the moralists believe they belong anyway. What more do you want? She's in the kitchen. What's your fucking problem? I just don't get it. Trip Boom, Sticks, what's the red flag behind you? It is not currently located where I'm going to locate it in the end, but that's the Roman flag, the flag of the Roman Republic, that some people, for some reason, still conflate with being a fascist flag. I don't know. Again, much like with Nikki Haley in the Civil War, most people don't understand historical nuance. By the way, please send no more super chats because it's Friday. I've got raking to do. I got to assemble those shelves and get this room hauled out and cleaned, and it'll take a while. Paul, going my own way, and this ish didn't even register on my radar. A good amount of the trad thoughts complaining did far more in their time. Yeah, you're complaining about people showing their knees. It makes it sound like you're jealous. You sound like a bitch, like a cunt. And some of these people are, and some of them I have respect for. And it's like, they're just more moralistic, but I can vouch for the fact they're genuinely religious or something. Okay, I'll give you a pass. But there are some people that are bitching about it, and they are simply stone cold goddamn jealous. Some of them are leftoids, by the way. Yeah. While I don't from Andy, while I don't care about the calendar, I think you are missing the point of the criticism. It's probably criticism of them seeking fame or something. No. Some of it is straight out, flat out jealousy. Some of it is just people complaining, well, you shouldn't be posing in the men's calendar like this. It's like, okay, if a man wants to be perverted, he's getting the Playboy calendar or something. He's not getting a calendar where everyone is fully clothed. That's just not realistic. In the era of the internet and free porn for everyone, that's just not realistic. Nobody is going to beat off to this calendar. They're going to enjoy it as an aesthetic backpiece, and that's it. By the way, nobody even uses calendars anymore. You got smartphones and shit like that. So, yeah, I mean, if somebody has a problem with that, it's like, come on. What is this? It wouldn't even be 1940. It'd be a fucking 1840. You'd have to go back that far to find enough fire and brimstone for anyone to really be offended by it. I think that I'll make a video about that, though. By the way, we've got our last super chat for the day. King of Biltong. Almost missed you today. Busy in store. Happy New Year from all of us at Anton's. Have a great 2024, everyone. Yes, you can go to antonsusa.com or landofbiltong.com. He's got you covered with the good meat. Yeah. I've actually probably going to have one of those sausages tonight, actually. Cut up and fried in a pan. That's going to be good. Drennan, take my money, fucker. Gladly. But yes, I will go offline now. I thank you all to the nearly 5,000 people who watched live. I guess I'll have to cover Calendar Gate, so-called, tomorrow because it's just fucking hilarious. And we've got one more. A Mags, Massachusetts resident, told my brother to finish building his Aero Precision AR after your video last week. For Garden Patrol, get a Ruger 1022. Trusted, tried, and true. I have seen it recommended by multiple people and did look into it. It looks good. So yeah. There's going to be some yummy meat later. I thank you to Anton. While you were belated, you still got your shout out. I will be back on Monday, but for the rest of the day, there's some outdoor work, there's some indoor work, there's some cooking work, there's everything work. It's work nonstop. And by the way, I wouldn't have it any other way because I get bored very, very easily. That's about all. Peace out.